Koshka to Veins is gonna get melted.
Do I think mobile esports is a phase? No, absolutely not.
And Hat just don't understand what happens. Oh.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Halcyon Report here, and we're going to be taking a deeper look at what's been happening with the Challenger Battle Series and much more. But I have to introduce who is going to be joining us through this episode. So firstly, you've got me. I'm Naysayerz, a full-time TV presenter, but I'm also accompanied by two great people from the Vainglory scene. We've got Starboi from Nova Esports and we've got SuiJeneris from Immortals, and boy am I excited to pick their brains about what's been going on this week. So how are you guys doing?
Doing great. Glad to have Starboi here
Yo.
on the show as well.
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good, awesome. So we've got a lot to talk about, so I'm not going to waste too much time. I'm going to get into the biggest talking point of the Halcyon Report this week, and that is the Challenger Battle Series. And it was 5 out of 6 Challengers teams actually knocked out their opponents in the Vainglory8, what means they can progress onto the Vainglory8. But in fact, it was NA. All 3 Challenger teams knocked out their opponents, making that a record in Vainglory. So let's talk about that a bit. Like, what are we feeling about the results of? I know we've got a mixture of teams that didn't win and teams that did win in the chat. But how are we feeling about the results of this?
Yeah, I think if you look at EU and NA, the theme is very similar. I think that the Challenger teams definitely did their homework. They are more thirsty, I believe. They're more hungry to be in the VG8. I see that, especially NA, on my perspective, like Team Giraffes, Baboons, etc. They've been working really hard. Nova as well. I know Truth. Starboi here is on Nova. They've been practicing and they did their homework. And I felt like their synergy is better than the Challenger teams that they faced. And I felt like on the VG8 teams, they came in a little bit overconfident, I feel, underestimating these Challenger teams. There's a lot of new metas that came out, like CP Gwen. Nova pulled that out. There's a Aftershock Vox, a CP Vox that came out that worked well. And I felt like the VG8 teams weren't prepared to face these specific compositions and these kind of out of meta playstyles, and that really caught them off guard. And on top of it, a lot of the VG8 teams are bottom teams for a reason. Team morale issues, right? Lack of synergy or falling synergy, declining synergy, the lack of dedication, little practice, etc. that leads to why they're a bottom team in the first place. So I felt like the teams that deserved to lose were definitely the VG8 teams, and the team that deserved to win were definitely the Challenger teams. And it shows that hard work pays off, and you can never underestimate any of your opponents.
For sure. And what about you, Starboi, being one of the teams that did their homework and managed to cause a bit of an upset?
Well, it was a lot of work, definitely. A lot of time that we put in. Honestly, I was pretty nervous going into the matchup because obviously, being that VGA teams have a lot more like experience with that sort of competitive meta, double ban draft and all of that stuff, really had to like spend a lot of time I guess sort of just researching how to be able to even like match up against that level of team. Honestly, at the end of the day, it was just really outplays in the games. It was like no crazy strategy on our part, at least. Like we didn't have anything crazy up our sleeve aside from like a substitute. Yeah, I think it was mainly just the time that we put in developing synergy as a team.
I guess that kind of makes you almost value the opportunity of being part of the challenge battles as well, right? You got that opportunity to have that second wind, and I guess that helps you form a much better, you know, like you said, synergy, but you know that you guys can get through anything. If you were able to get through beating such big, you know, big VG8 teams, you know that you pretty much can do anything, right?
Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to the future.
Sorry, Nate. One thing I want to comment real quick is a double ban draft. VJ teams do have an advantage with being more comfortable with double ban draft, but there is a meta when it comes to double ban draft that they're used to within the VJ and scrimming other of the top 8 teams in NA. And I feel like the challenger teams have a leg up when they have a ton of information, first off, from the VODs, from all the VG8 teams and how they do double ban draft. So there's actually a pattern. And the challenger teams play ranked, and they do some scrims as well. But as long as they get a composition that they're comfortable and they're confident on, that they've worked on, because the VG8 team doesn't know or doesn't have as much information about the challenger teams as they could versus, say, a VG8 team. So they don't know what to ban draft against a challenger team. And I feel like if a challenger team is able to get through the double ban draft phase and get a composition that they're comfortable on, it gives them actually an advantage because of the lack of information on a challenger team and the abundance of information for a VG8 team. So I feel like it's really a equal in terms of who has the advantage or who doesn't coming into these challenge battles.
Yeah, for sure, because there's a lot of connotations going around that, you know, the challenger teams they're actually at a disadvantage going into a double ban format. But actually, like you said, there's a lot of VODs and resources out there for it. Starboi, did you kind of utilize the information you had out there, and you know, did you not feel like you're at a disadvantage going into a double ban format?
No, we were definitely comfortable in draft. Yeah, we did have, like Sui said, like we had a ton of information. We spent hours reviewing Rogue's VODs, so we knew like pretty much all of their like most comfortable picks, I guess. They still surprised us with one or two, but overall, yeah, we were pretty comfortable in the draft.
That's awesome. So let's just go over the results just for you guys as well watching this. So in EU, there was Mouse Sports versus Reliable Union, and that went 1-3. We had Rising Lotus and Denial, that went 3-1 in favour of Rising Lotus. And we had Fluffy Chickens and Lemon and Lime, and that was a really close one. That was 2-3, but it went in favour to Lemon and Lime. And then in NA, we had Rogue versus Nova. Obviously, Nova Esports took it on a three map lead, and then Tribe and Giraffes, where it was a stomp by Giraffes, they took 3, and Immortals versus Baboons, and unfortunately it was a stomp as well. So they were the results that came in through that Challenger series, or Challenger battles in fact. So you know, we kind of touched upon the double bout. I'm sure we will touch upon it later on in this episode, but I mean, let's go to you, SuiJe. Did you kind of expect to lose? I know we've kind of talked about, you know, that they almost had an advantage with the amount of resources, but were you still hopeful for a win, right? You know, like, did it matter too much if you didn't lose? These kind of questions?
Yeah, we definitely were hoping for a win, and honestly, I feel like the team was overconfident regarding the challenger team. And for example, they didn't really take it seriously as they should have. Like, they didn't practice or warm up at all that day, so they didn't even practice the day of the challenge battles. They didn't spend the weekend enough practicing and making sure that they're polished and ready to go. And also the scrims leading up to the challenge battles, I felt like we could have put more effort into and pretty much be more serious in terms of, you know, we had a specific draft strategies because we knew that Baboons loved playing a lot of glaive. They did switch up their roster with Irwin, who loves to play Celeste, etc. So that kind of caught us off guard because they didn't play the normal lineup that they played. So again, the lack of information really was a disadvantage to us, I felt. But ultimately, though, you can see the lack of synergy in the game. There's a lot of positioning errors, a lot of synergy, and that was just Immortals' game to lose. And that's not something that we're happy with. It's very disappointing, given a team of their caliber who had so much history of success, you know, fall in a challenge battle like this so decisively as well. And it's really because of their mistakes. And I felt like it could have gone either way, but because of the lack of dedication and effort coming out from Immortals, we definitely deserve that loss.
And to Starboi, you guys were picked against Rogue. How did you feel about that? They're giants in the game, right? Did you go in feeling confident? And you know, what was your thoughts on the pick, reflecting back on it now?
To be honest, initially I wasn't super confident, just for various reasons with our team practices and everything. Leading up to it, I wasn't super confident, but the days before, I actually started feeling super comfortable about it. Looking back, like, we definitely could have picked another team, I think, and probably had a little bit of a less difficult series. But I don't think we regret the decision. I think we could have performed better and had an easier series anyways if we had just actually played better and drafted a little smarter. But overall, yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with that pick.
How did Rogue come about as your pick?
You know, it's kind of a good question. We had talked a lot about Rogue and Immortals, and the day came where we needed to like make the decision. It was sort of just a spur of the moment thing. There wasn't a whole lot of like thought even put into the decision itself. We just went with Rogue, and then yeah, looking back, yeah, there were probably some easier matchups, but
Yeah, one thing too, Starboy, with regarding that is Rogue actually is one of the harder working teams in VG8, so it's not surprising that they actually could have won that series because they actually had a few throws in 2 of the games. It was so back and forth. It was super exciting to watch, definitely. But I felt like Tribe didn't practice the same day as well. I was talking to Pawn. And again, it's that synergy within the team. You know, Tribe actually was probably the strongest team out of the 3, honestly, given their performance in the challenge battles that they won and leading into the VGA and their performance of being able to hold their own against Hammers and winning a lot of the early game against Hammers, Temple Storm, etc., and just doing really bad late game decisions. So I feel like Tribe had the most potential to be the team that definitely would secure a win and stay in the VGA, and Rogue and Immortals would probably have more of a struggle due to just the insider information that I had. And Rogue was an interesting pick because out of the 3, you would think they'd be the weakest, but since they did put in the most effort and they're religiously practicing, they definitely had a good showing for sure in the challenge battles compared to Tribe and Immortals. So,
you know, coming from you, Starboi, did you kind of how does it feel winning this, knowing that you've got to prepare now for Vainglory8? What's the mindset of the team? Where you at? What's the preparation plans going into the summer season?
Honestly, I think we're just really excited. We have quite a bit of time even to prepare before VG8 even starts next season, and we're just really excited to be able to spend that time preparing. I'm sure we're going to put in like crazy amounts of time. I'll spend ungodly amounts of time watching VODs and stuff from VG8, so yeah, I'm pretty excited. I definitely think that we have a lot of potential and we can make a lot better performances than we did in challenge battles.
Awesome. So let's take a little reverse in our gear change here and go back to that double ban talk. So do you think the 2-split system is good, or do you think it needs reformatting and some forms of tweaking? Some teams have reportedly, you know, pointed out valid points that, you know, the strength of the schedule could be different, and the difference between being the bottom 3 and being safe from potential relegation is quite tricky. And obviously that's got a lot of time to it as well that you have to tie into this series. So your thoughts on that, guys?
Yeah, I think the split, it's good. I love the tournaments every weekend. So Awesome Draw SMC, compared to like a league format, it's pretty boring because in league format, you're going to end up with matchups that just aren't very fun to watch because they're like the bottom teams. But in a tournament format, you're always looking forward to the semifinals and the finals, and it's always going to be amazing matches on Sunday. It is a big commitment every weekend, though, because it is Saturday and Sunday. If you keep winning, you keep playing. So in addition to like all the scrims and practices leading up to the weekend, you have to then play that weekend, and if you do well, you're playing even more. So your whole weekend is pretty much set for. And then also you have the mid-season challenge battles. If you're a bottom 3 team, they do seem out of place for it being mid-season. So I'd love to see that be changed. I think it would be better to have just one challenge battle per season, whether it's mid-season or end of season, whatever it is. But it does mean that if it is the end of the season, then those challenger teams will not be able to compete at a live event if it was a challenge battle at the end of the season. So I think with the split, I like the tournaments. It is a big time commitment, but that's why they're paid professionals when it comes to it. And I feel like a little tweak to the schedule regarding the challenge battles a little bit are going to make it a little better when it comes to continuity and consistency in terms of the VG8 teams.
Sure. And Starboi, how does the split system feel for you guys in challenges?
I mean, honestly, it's a little better for teams who are trying to get into VG8, obviously, because you have like kind of more opportunities, especially with the way challenge battles work into that. But I mean, honestly, I don't really have like a very strong opinion on it. I'm sure I probably will develop one in VG8. I mean, it sounds like a pretty stressful thing to work with, but yeah.
It's good though, when stress is added, it means you guys are progressing up the ladder, right?
Yeah,
so that's
more
a good
motivation,
thing, right?
Yeah.
Exactly, that's it, keep you going. So my favourite talk is London. It's happening next week. You're all coming to my home soil. I think I'm spending nearly every evening over at the O2 Arena with all you guys next week, which I'm pretty excited about. But let's talk about it from the team's side, from your guys' side. So first of all, SuiJe, how are you guys preparing for London? Did you take a couple of days off like everyone else did to have respite? And what's your mindset going into it?
Well, we just took, I guess, the Sunday off, and then we jumped into practice immediately on Monday because we have such a short time with Vanes, who's our captain, moving to jungle. There's a lot of things he has to learn. Me, I have to come back to my competitive form, so I'll be competing at the live event for Immortals because our all-star jungler Aloha cannot make it due to immigration paperwork issues, and our sub jungler God of Sins cannot make it because his commander denied his request for leave. So that leaves me as the only person left to compete. I think it's going to be a struggle because it's not a roster we're comfortable with. It's two captained along with Zio, our laner, who will be there. We're facing Hammers, who won't have their starting laner starting all over. However, they still have T-Tigers. And Tigers is going to carry really. It's Tigers versus Vanes in the jungle, and that's just pretty scary to think about if you think about it. But I think overall, though, TSM and Cloud9, with sending their full rosters, they have a great chance of taking it all the way. I think G2 and Team Secret will put up a good fight. It's going to be very entertaining to watch. But I feel that Temple Storm, Gangstars are going to get through, and like Hammers, etc. The winners of the lower and high NA are going to beat the EU. I'm pretty positive that those teams that make it through will beat the first and second seed EU teams, because Gangsters, Temple Storm, and Hammers are all very strong teams, and I feel like they can take on the EU teams. So it's going to be very interesting. Is it going to be the first live event or first time that an EU team is going to beat an NA team? Because that has not yet happened. So that's a super exciting storyline for sure, and so I'm so excited to be there to witness if that is going to happen and make history and have an EU team be able to talk some smack against NA.
I mean, I'm pretty excited to see that happen if it does, because I love you NA guys, but like to see an EU team almost on EU soil take a victory, like that'll be the icing on the cake to the week. But you know, I'll keep my fingers crossed for all teams that they just have a lovely time over here. Starboi, who do you think is going to take it all? Do you think it's going to be EU, NA?
I have to go with TSM, obviously. I have to go with my boys TSM. Yeah, of course. I mean, nah, you can't even. Nah. It's gotta be TSM.
You sound so confident with that as well. To be honest, I had the great pleasure of talking to FlashX last week, and they interestingly, they're not in the position like you, SuiJ, where you know you're having to have that quick changeover of roster and positioning, because they were like, yeah, we're just gonna take a few days off, you know, chill. We got plenty of time. Yeah, like I'm like, okay, you guys are sounding very confident about this. I like it. I'm slightly nervous for you, but I know you got this. Like it's quite funny to see kind of the contrast. I just want to touch upon like kind of the Aloha point you made. Like, do you guys? How quick is it for you guys to make decisions to be like, right, I have to jump in now to do this? Are you feeling confident about it, right?
Yeah, we're confident. We're definitely going to do our best and represent Immortals and our fans the best that we can. Aloha is spending some time with Vanes to go over rotations and tips in jungle that will help him. I have a really good understanding of every team and their rotations. I pretty much have analyzed every EU and NA team. So if anything, when it comes to draft and macro strategy, I feel like we'll be pretty sound, as long as, again, the synergy is there. And that's the most important thing, because putting a team together so quickly, such short notice, means that there are going to be synergy issues where late game, someone might get caught out, they might not be on the same page. There's a lot of things that we need to work on to make sure that we don't lose because of our mistakes, and that we definitely do our best and try to execute the composition that we have with confidence, and really allow Zio to really shine and carry, because at live events, Zio is a beast. He performs extremely well at live events along with Vayne, so I feel like we do have a good chance of at least making it to day 2 and hopefully day 3. We'll see, but if that does happen, that's going to be a storyline in itself. So
No, it's very, very exciting. So I guess that kind of wraps up this episode of the Halcyon Report. We've got to say good luck to Starboi and Nova Esports as they move on to the summer season of VGA, and we're going to look forward to Immortals being over here in London for the live finals at the O2 Arena in London. It's going to be an exciting time, but there's still loads more Vainglory to be talking about, so make sure you hit subscribe to keep up to date with all the Vainglory action going on in this channel, and we will catch you guys very, very soon. Thank you for joining us, guys.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Thank you.